Nestled in Oshawa, Ontario, the Ontario Regiment Arc-Tac Museum, widely known as the Canadian Tank Museum, stands as one of North America's most significant institutions dedicated to the preservation and operation of military vehicles. Boasting the largest collection of operational military vehicles in North America, the museum is more than a static display. It is a living, breathing tribute to Canada's armored heritage. Founded in 1980, it has grown from a small ferret club to one of North America's largest operational military vehicle collections. Location and access: address 1000 Stevenson Road North, Oshawa, Ontario. The museum is situated on the south field of the Oshawa Executive Airport. Driving directions: from Highway 401, eastbound or westbound, take exit 415, Stevenson Road S. Durham Regional Road 53, and head north for approximately 10 minutes. Hours of operation: summer, May 1st, Remembrance Day. Open 7 days a week, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Winter, November 12th, May 1. Closed December 25th to January 1st. Open Thursdays, Sundays, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Origins and historical development. The origins of the Ontario Regiment Arc-Tac Museum are closely tied to the Ontario Regiment, Royal Canadian Armoured Corps, one of Canada's oldest continuously serving armoured regiments. With roots dating back to 1866, the Ontario Regiment served with distinction in both World Wars and continues to serve in Canada's primary reserve forces. The museum itself began as a regimental initiative in the 1980s, started by passionate veterans and volunteers who sought to preserve the history and artifacts associated with the regiment. Over time, it evolved from a modest collection to a full-fledged public institution, officially designated a military museum and formally affiliated with the Ontario Regiment. Today, the museum is operated as a non-profit charity and is housed in a purpose-built facility at the Oshawa Executive Airport, adjacent to Canadian Forces buildings. It has become a national and international destination for historians, students, and military enthusiasts. Mission and vision. The Ontario Regiment Arc-Tac Museum is driven by a clear mission: to preserve and bring to life the history of the Royal Canadian Armoured Corps and educate the public through the restoration, maintenance, and public demonstration of military vehicles. The museum's focus includes honoring veterans and serving military personnel, educating the public on the evolution of armored warfare, restoring and maintaining historically accurate operational military vehicles, preserving the legacy of the Ontario Regiment and Canadian military history. Museum facilities and layout. The museum occupies several large buildings, including a main display hangar showcasing armored vehicles, uniforms, and weaponry, a restoration workshop where vehicles are actively maintained and repaired, an archives and research center with thousands of documents, service records, and regimental artifacts, outdoor exhibit areas and vehicle test tracks used for public demonstrations. The space is designed not only for static exhibitions, but for interactive experiences, especially during large public events. The vehicle collection. The museum's crown jewel is its collection of over 120 fully operational military vehicles, ranging from WWI logistics trucks to modern Canadian Forces LAVs. Vehicles are meticulously restored and maintained by a dedicated crew of volunteers, many of whom are military veterans or engineers. Categories of vehicles: 1. Logistics and support vehicles. 2. Light armor and reconnaissance. 3. Heavy armor and main battle tanks. 4. Specialized combat and recovery vehicles. 5. Modern armored personnel carriers. Armored personnel carriers and reconnaissance vehicles. M130A2 and M130CNR Lynx. Versatile armored personnel carriers that have seen widespread use in various military operations. Ferret Scout Cars. The museum's origins trace back to the acquisition of 9 Ferret Scout cars, marking the beginning of its extensive collection. FV-433 Abbott SPG, a British self-propelled gun showcasing the diversity of artillery pieces in the museum's collection. General Motors Fox Armored Reconnaissance Car, a rare Canadian-built vehicle from 1943, recently repatriated to Oshawa, highlighting Canada's industrial contributions during World War II. Soft-skinned and support vehicles. Canadian military pattern CMP trucks, mass-produced in Canada during World War II, these trucks were essential for logistics and transport. Dodge M37, a quarter-ton 4x4 truck used by the Canadian military, known for its durability and versatility. M62 wreckers, heavy-duty recovery vehicles used for towing and repairing other military vehicles. Scania HLVW prototype, a unique prototype representing Canada's exploration of modern heavy logistics vehicles. Logistics and support vehicles. While less glamorous, these vehicles made combat operations possible. Key examples: CMP truck, Canadian military pattern, built in Oshawa during World War II. GMC Deuce and a Half, legendary U.S. logistics truck. M35 and M37 Humvee, Land Rover Defender, Iveco LSVW, International Wreckers, Volvo Band Van, and Bombardier Iltis. Heavy armor and main battle tanks. From World War II to the Cold War, the museum's heavy armor collection tells the story of tank evolution. Key highlights: M4 Sherman Easy 8 tanks, Billy and Bart, famous US World War II tanks. Panzer III and Stug III replicas, German World War II designs rebuilt from Cold War chassis. T-34-85, legendary Soviet World War II tank. Centurion Mach 5, British Cold War MBT, recently restored. M60 Patton T-72 and Leopard 1, C-1 and A-5, Cold War era tanks from NATO and Warsaw Pact. M551 Sheridan and Chieftain Mach 10 show tactical innovation in amphibious and heavy tank design. national and international significance. The museum is internationally recognized for having the largest fleet of operational armored vehicles in North America, preserving rare Canadian vehicles such as the Fox armored car and CMP trucks, being a destination for military research and heritage tourism. It maintains relationships with global institutions including Bovington Tank Museum, UK, the Musée des Blindés, France, and various US veterans museums. Sherman M4A26W HVSS Easy 8 tanks. The museum features two fully operational Sherman tanks, Bart and Billy, both restored to pristine condition. These tanks are central to the museum's dynamic displays and are often showcased during events like Tank Saturdays. M24 Chaffee, a light tank used by Allied forces during World War II, known for its speed and maneuverability. M60A3 Patton tanks. Two of these Cold War-era main battle tanks are part of the collection, representing the evolution of armored warfare. M551A1 Sheridan, an airborne-capable light tank designed for rapid deployment, reflecting innovations in mobility and versatility. Centurion Mecca, LR, one of the most successful post-World War II British tank designs, with one fully operational unit believed to be the only one of its kind in North America. Leopard 1, Germany's first post-war main battle tank, adopted by several NATO countries, including Canada, and known for its speed and firepower. M7B1 Priest, a self-propelled artillery piece used extensively during World War II, particularly noted for its role in the D-Day landings. For events and public programs, Tank Saturdays, Living History in Action. Perhaps the most unique aspect of the museum is its Tank Saturdays program, monthly events from May to October featuring live vehicle demonstrations. Each event is themed Cold War, D-Day, Vietnam, and includes tanks and vehicles driving on trails and mock battlefields, veterans speaking about their experience, uniformed reenactors, public access to vehicles and curators. These events draw thousands of spectators and serve as powerful educational experiences. Aquino Tank Weekend. Held every June, Aquino Weekend is the museum's biggest event. Dozens of vehicles take part in live battlefield reenactments with pyrotechnics, mock engagements, and full crew displays. Named after Canadian tank commander Major John Mahoney, VC, from the Italian campaign. Education and outreach. The museum partners with schools, cadet corps, and historical societies to deliver custom lesson plans and tours, interactive youth leadership programs, oral history projects, Veterans Day commemorations. Community and partnerships. The museum is supported by local donors and corporate sponsors. Veterans Affairs Canada, Department of National Defence, film productions, vehicle rentals. Restoration and volunteerism. The heart of the museum is its volunteer corps. Mechanics, engineers, historians, and military veterans dedicate thousands of hours to restoring and operating vehicles. Some current projects include M7B1 Priest, Wo 2 self-propelled howitzer recently restored, Krupp Flak 88, iconic German anti-aircraft gun under rebuild, M113 TLAP modernizations, upgrading Cold War APCs to modern standards. The museum is also known for reverse engineering parts that are no longer manufactured, including cast armor pieces and 76mm shells for the Sherman tanks. Static display, highlights and themes. Uniforms, medals, and regimental artifacts. Extensive collection of Ontario Regiment Royal Canadian Armoured Corps uniforms, spanning from pre-Confederation militia through WWY, World War II, Cold War, up to modern peacekeeping missions. Medals awarded to soldiers, including a Order of Canada belonging to famed Honorary Colonel Sam McLaughlin, are showcased in meticulously curated dioramas. Personal letters, diaries, photographs, weapons, deactivated, and maps convey a vivid soldier's perspective across different eras. Historical eras depicted: militia and Fenian raids, 1850s to 1860s. Artifacts from early Canadian defense history. South African War and WWI, battalion memorabilia, trench war items, and photographic archives. Items linked to the Ontario Regiment service, including officer gear, unit insignia, Battle of Normandy artifacts, and memorabilia from vehicles like the CMP trucks and Shermans. Cold War and peacekeeping, modern camouflage, UN gear, Afghan deployment keepsakes. Diorama-style exhibits. Static displays are presented in themed environments. WWI trench modules with weapons, gas masks, and personal effects. Normandy Italian campaign scenes showcasing soldier equipment and tank crew remnants. UN peacekeeping camp diorama with modern uniforms and gear. These immersive setups from the museum's static section produce vivid snapshots of soldier life across conflicts. Treasured regimental objects, regimental colors, trophies, and trench art from various campaigns. Command Team coins of excellence, including markers from important milestones like the 2010 awards. Documentation on Camp X and the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan, noting the site's transformation from Buyutu training grounds to museum premises. Archives and research access. The museum offers a dedicated research archive, housing service records, war diaries, military orders, and regimental histories. Visitors, including historians and genealogists, can book access for deeper inquiry into Ontario Regiment personnel or engagement records. The static display section encompasses uniforms, medals, personal effects, documents, dioramas, and regimental memorabilia. Artifact themes span over 200 years of Canadian military history, from militia to modern missions. Exhibits are immersive and meticulously curated, offering historical context to complement the museum's famous running vehicles. Research archives and expert-led interpretation deepen the visitor experience. International accolades affirm the museum's excellence in preserving both vehicles and static artifacts. Awards and international recognition. The museum received the Jack Littlefield Award for Preservation and Education Excellence, 2019, from the Military Vehicle Preservation Association, recognizing efforts spanning both vehicle restoration and the upkeep of static exhibits covering 200-plus years of Canadian military history. The Ontario Regiment Archive Museum is unlike any other. It's not a quiet hall of dusty artifacts. It's a roaring, rolling celebration of Canada's military past. Whether you visit to hear a Sherman tank rumble across the field, learn about Canadian UN missions, or touch history with your own hands, the museum delivers a powerful experience. By honoring the vehicles, the people who used them, and the volunteers who preserved them, the Canadian Tank Museum in Oshawa offers more than history. It offers connection. It keeps memory alive in the most tangible way, with steel, grit, and a whole lot of horsepower.